I'm Detective Lieutenant Elliot, and this is Trooper Wagner.
We just want to ask a few questions.
We understand the night of his demise, the family have gathered to celebrate your father's 85th birthday. How was it, by the way?
The party? Pre my dad's death? Oh, it was great.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to request that you all stay until the investigation is completed.
What?
Can we ask why? Has something changed?
No.
No, it hasn't changed, or no, we can't ask.
I'm gonna live till I die.
You think one of his family
Walls.
killed? Is that what you're suggesting?
Let her cry. I'm gonna take the
You all love twisting the knife into one another.
Up your ass.
Oh, very nice.
Matter of fact, eat shit. How's that? Eat shit, eat shit, eat shit.
Smug smile.
Definitely eat shit.
Gonna dance, gonna fly. I'll take a chance. Ride high. Before my number's up, I'm gonna fill my cup. I'm gonna live.
You know something. Spill it.
I suspect foul play. I have eliminated no suspects.
I'm gonna live. Until
It's a twisted web. We are not finished untangling it, not yet.
What is this? CSI KFC?
Until I die.
Ba-ba-ba-ba. This is year 7. That's right, year 7. This is year 7 of Movie Month. For 30 days, I'll watch 30 movies and do 30 podcasts. This is the 13th day.
I can see her lying back in her satin dress in a room where you do what you don't confess. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care.
Shocking news from my neighborhood. My neighbor is using his leaf blower. Not his weed whacker, but of course he's always doing something. Hello everybody. Happy Saturday. It is Saturday and it is June 13th. I knew that. I didn't have to look at my calendar. I'm always like, wait a minute, did I do 13 yesterday? Or 13 comes tomorrow? No. Today is June 13th. Today is the 13th day of Movie Month, and today I watched pretty much a pretty spectacular movie that might be my favorite movie so far this month, I'm going to have to say. Just became available for Amazon Prime members to stream for free, like you don't have to pay for it extra or anything, from 2019, written and directed by Rian Johnson. Knives Out. I loved this movie. I'm not sure what I could add to it. So anyway, here is I'll keep talking about it. I thoroughly enjoyed myself this entire movie. It was a whodunit that then you thought you knew whodunit, and you think, oh, like I said to myself, my wife walked by and I said, this is like a whodunit, but they told you who did it like a third into the movie. And they tricked you. Like I was like, there has to be more, right? There has to be more, and there was more. Look, I'm assuming you saw this because I spoil stuff. So already, if you didn't see it and I talked this far about it, then sorry. But going ahead, I'm going to go more into details. So I like this because it was a completely original tale. Not like yesterday's movie wasn't original. That was wackadoodle original. This was just a completely original tale based in the world of reality. Meaning this thing, though, as, dramatic as it was, could happen to in real life. You have to excuse me. I'm walking my dog right now, and she likes to stop every few minutes, and I'm trying to make sure that. Oh, you know what? Sometimes she likes to stop because she has to stop. So what you're witnessing live on the internet is me taking what some would call a poop bag out of my little leash poop bag holder. Now I'm scooping over, bending over, and scooping up, well, you know what I'm scooping up. Then I put it in the little bag. Well, it's already in the bag. I tie a little knot. What the hell, is everybody weed whacking today? Or am I like in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Like, I swear I think this other neighbor's revving up his weed whacker, trying to intimidate me. Like he's at a stoplight. All right. We're going. We're on our way. So Rian Johnson. Now, I know Rian Johnson. I knew Rian Johnson from Looper, the Bruce Willis movie. Then he did another movie that I've heard good things about. I haven't seen it yet. And then I'm not sure what else he's done, except he is the man behind Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, which a lot of nerds hated him for. I've watched The Last Jedi again, and there's stuff in it I don't like, but still a good movie, I think. Still a well-done movie. I don't know, whatever. Put it this way. The guy got a lot of flack for putting out for The Last Jedi, and including from me. And he stopped doing... I think he was supposed to do another Star Wars thing, and then he just bailed off that. And instead, he did this as his next movie, Knives Out. And good for him, because this was pretty spectacularly good. Like, it was just an original concept. He didn't have to please or appease anybody. He didn't have to base it on anything or come up with his own mythology based on things of the past. There was no fan fiction, nothing like that. Written and directed by Rian Johnson, Knives Out, tells the story of a quirky family that is surrounded by a very famous mystery writer, played by Christopher Plummer. They're all there to celebrate his birthday. Well, actually, the movie starts with a maid. He's got a very rich house, very opulent house, and the maid finds him dead, slit throat. Now, come on, doggy, come on. The whole rest of the movie is trying to figure out what happened, and it gets to the point where they tell you what happened, and yet come on. It's one of these things where they tell you what they think happened. Where are you going? My dog is really giving me a hard time right now. Like the characters that are specifically involved in what happened to this man tell you what happened. And yet, that's not what happened. It's what they think happened. Basically, the whole thing is Christopher Plummer is found dead. The family is there, and they're being questioned by the police. And this Baton Rouge kind of like southern fella, who's played by James Bond himself, Daniel Craig, is a private investigator who he's not even sure who hired him. But he's brought in to investigate things even more because maybe something fishy's going on here. Maybe it wasn't a suicide. And we come to find out that his nurse seems to have accidentally poisoned him. And this guy's like, what? You know, the old man, instead of being angry with her, he's like, well, I'm not afraid of death. And he basically helps cover for her. He's like, I'm going to die now. And he wants to make sure she's okay. So he slits his own throat, even though he's going to die. Now, the big twister-rooney, look, you've already seen it. Hi, how you doing? The big twister-rooney at the end is that she didn't actually poison him. She, the medicine was swapped. And she didn't actually poison him like she thought she did. He did actually kill himself. He wasn't poisoned. He ended up really, if he listened to the girl and said, call the ambulance, he would have lived. He would have been fine. But instead, he killed himself. And that's the big reveal at the end. The big reveal that we figure out. And the whole thing was actually masterminded by his grandson, played by Captain America, Chris Evans. So earlier in the movie, you think Chris Evans is helping the girl, but it turns out he's just helping her so that she can get away with she can get away with it. She can get away with thinking she did it. He actually twisted swapped the medication, and because so he thinks that his plan actually worked. He actually swapped the medication, but someone in the house saw that he swapped the medication. So his thing was he's going to help her out so that then she can say, hi, how you doing? Just walking by the neighbor. Okay, so, what I forgot to mention is he switched all his will to give everything to her. His publishing empire, his money, his house, everything to her. And the family's freaking out about that. So the family are a bunch of dicks, too. They're freaking out about that. They want her to give up her money. Even the granddaughter, who thinks she's doing good, who seems like she's trying to be sympathetic to this girl, is like, can you just give us back the money? Can you just give us back the money? They threaten her, saying her mother's an illegal immigrant, and they're going to turn her in. All these things because she ended up getting the inheritance. Chris Evans thinks that she thinks she killed him. Chris Evans knew this was going on. And Chris Evans went to help her, goes to help her, so that he can get part of the inheritance. She gets away with what she thinks is murder. He gets away with actual murder. And he gets his inheritance out of it. He doesn't give a crap about the rest of the family. What we come to find out later is that Chris Evans knew she was getting all the inheritance, knew he was pissed off, and that's why he couldn't let it sit, and that's why he went back to frame her. And there was a thing called the Slayer rule, meaning if you're responsible for the death, you do not get the inheritance, meaning it would revert back to the family and he'd get his chunk again. But once she told him everything, he was like, well, I'm just going to let you think you're getting away with it and get my inheritance anyway and screw the rest of the family. But it was all figured out by Mr. Benoit Blanc, Detective Benoit Blanc. You got British man Daniel Craig giving himself a Louisiana accent or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But it was, for a moment I was like, whoa, what's that accent? And after that, I was like, he's doing great. I don't care. It was awesome. So that's pretty much the whole plot of the movie, and it's just like twists and turns, because you think, what the hell is going on here? Then you think the maid figured it out and was blackmailing the girl who thought she killed him, and then like at one point she says, "You did it. You were, you did this." What she actually was saying is, Hugh did this, who was Chris Evans. Chris Evans, what's his name? His real name. Chris Evans' character's name. What I love is little things that set things up later. And I want to watch this again to see what else set this up. Like, early on, oh, the dogs love you. And the dogs go up to Marta, and they don't, they completely are loving her. There's German Shepherds in the house. Even Jamie Lee Curtis and Don Johnson, they're Chris Evans' parents. They go up to him, they go up to them, all happy. Now, earlier in the movie, the dogs bark at Chris Evans, and later on, and then at one point in the movie, they talk about how one of the granddaughters woke up because she heard the dogs barking. Right there is a clue. She heard the dogs barking. Who the dogs bark at? They bark at Chris Evans. That should have been the clue right then and there. Hearing the dogs barking. I never thought about it. It didn't make the connection until later. That's why the dogs were barking, because they bark at Chris Evans, and Chris Evans was there. Then there's the great-grandmother who she had to be like 150 years old, and she called his nickname was Ransom, or his middle name was Ransom. Everyone called him Ransom. Hugh Ransom. What a name. And he was the girl was seen climbing a trellis to try to cover up for what's going on. Because, again, Christopher Plummer just wanted to make sure she was taken care of. He wanted to make sure she gets her inheritance. Are you kidding me? You're going again? Hey, okay, well, round 2. Taking another bag out. Apparently my dog had a big breakfast. But hey, man, this is I always say this is the podcast that could happen anywhere, under any circumstances. And really, anything could happen, including picking up 2 bags of shit. Oh, did I just earn an explicit tag? Well, I'm not going to give it one, so blah. So, all right, hold on, come on. Where was I? What was I talking about before I got so rudely interrupted by another poop emergency? So Marta was climbing up the trellis, and the great-grandmother said, "Ransom, are you back again?" Well, why was he back again? Because he was there before. Like, little clues like that they're dropping. Another thing they did, which I thought was interesting, was they showed a flashback right before Christopher Plummer thought he was poisoned, thought he got the morphine poison. He talks about knives. So he has this fascination with knives. Like, he has this giant knife collection. And he makes a comment where he goes, and sometimes people don't know the difference between a real knife and a stage prop. Like, what is a stage prop? And he picks up a knife in his study, which you can see is real. Well, why would he say that? Why would, just talking about people and the difference between a real thing and a fake thing and the knife. And it pays off at the end because Chris Evans is found out as being the man behind everything. But he's like, what are you going to get me for? I didn't do, you thought attempted murder? Please. But it turns out that the maid that he poisoned, the maid that he thought was black. Okay, look, you saw the movie, right? You know what I'm talking about. That he ended up killing the maid, and they did a nice job of setting things up because the main girl, the nurse, can't tell a lie without getting actually physically sick. And at the end, she says, "The girl's okay," meaning that Chris Evans thinks he's going to be found out because the girl's going to be able to tell her story. So Chris Evans goes on and on to confess about what happened, as he's going to get away with it. And then she throws up all over his face, meaning, hey, she lied. oh, come on. Meaning he's dead, she's dead, and now he's getting actually charged with murder. So, a lot of fun things. Like, they set up that Jamie Lee Curtis and her father used to always play these games. And she found out that her husband, Don Johnson, is cheating on her. And he says, I left a note for her. Don Johnson goes to look for the note. He finds a blank piece of paper. He's like, you son of a bee, thinking he was just being, scared into it. But he said he liked to play these games, right? And she knows exactly what that piece of paper meant. So she takes a lighter and makes the invisible ink come, and then she finds out that she cheated on him, that he cheated on her, or he's been having an affair. Like the last thing we see of Don Johnson, they're all looking up at the girl who gets everything. Did you notice Don Johnson had a black eye? So I'm assuming Jamie Lee Curtis punched him in the face, right? So many... I mean, I'm not doing this movie justice, obviously, but the performances were just awesome. Daniel Craig plays the main detective trying to figure everything out. And the two cops, they were great too. And it's Lakefield Stanfield or Lake Keith Stanfield. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong. I just saw him in Uncut Gems the other day, and now he's in this again. So he's a twofer this year. Then you got the girl who played the granddaughter. Now, I know her as like the girl who died in 13 Reasons Why. That's why I recognize her. Then you got Don Johnson and Jamie Lee Curtis playing unlikable people. You got Chris Evans, as I said. And then you got Michael Shannon, who was awesome as like a real creepy, just kind of a jerk who takes care of all the publishing. But actually, Christopher Plummer was one by one cutting them all off. Now, he didn't think he was going to die, but he knew he was cutting them off because he was going to have the will ready, because he changed the will for her. But he didn't expect himself to die. So it's just interesting that he cut them all off right before the day before he dies. So, interesting. So, come on, you're doing good. And then, of course, I don't know Ana de Armas, but she played the main, the hero, I guess you'd say, of the movie, Marta, who ends up, in the end, getting all his riches, $60 million in cash, the house, and his publishing empire, that he never wanted to make movies or have any adaptations or TV shows done of his shows. That's what Michael Shannon was pushing for. Michael Shannon's son, who I recognize, I think he's from the It movies. He plays just his creepy little son, who there's like, they call him like a little Nazi. I thought that was funny. And also, Toni Collette. So Toni Collette played like little things that just don't make a ton to the plot, but it's just character building, where Toni Collette is not his daughter. It's his daughter-in-law. His son died years before, and he's been taking care of her, giving her a yearly allowance, and paying for the granddaughter's college. But it turns out Toni Collette's been double dipping, so he's like, listen, here's the last payment for her college, and you guys are both cut off. And that's why even the granddaughter was trash. But what I really liked was Toni Collette played this character who created like a skincare line called Flub or something like that. And it reminded me of Gwyneth Paltrow and her Goop. And then when she was talking, she really sounded like she was doing a Gwyneth Paltrow impression. So if you ever listen to Gwyneth Paltrow just talk, and then listen to Toni Collette in Knives Out, I don't know anything about this. I haven't looked anything up. I don't know any connection. But to me, it sounded like she was doing a Gwyneth Paltrow impression. So if that's the case, that's hilarious. And again, for no reason. And she's Australian herself, so she's doing this perfect accent, is it like a California Valley accent? I don't know, but she's a great actress. So, my goodness, what else to say? It was just like watching this with a big grin on my face, like I'm thoroughly enjoying this, and I'm enjoying that I didn't figure it out. First I thought, wait, is the whole thing that this is a whodunit where we already know who done it, and now we see her get away with it? Like, I loved that So Lakeith Stanfield, again, I'm probably getting his name wrong. He played one of the detectives. Then this other guy played a detective. What I liked about him is he's the fanboy. He knows all about Christopher Plummer's books. He's like, oh, that's like from this book. Oh, that's like from this book. And even when Christopher Plummer realized he was poisoned, he took out his little book. He goes, that's a great idea for a motive, a plot twist. And he writes it down. And I think even that's foreshadowing. Like, yeah, it's a great idea because it's exactly what happened, even though, if it was done on purpose, which it was supposed to be done on purpose. But she's such a good nurse, she could even tell which was the real medicine and which was without even looking at the label. She didn't make a mistake. She never made a mistake. The guy changed the medicine in the vials, hoping she'd give the wrong one, but she didn't even look at the name. She's such a good nurse, she didn't even look at the words on the label. She could just tell just by looking at the medicine what's the right thing and what's the wrong thing. So that was a cool reveal. The hole in the donut. He was like, there's a hole in this case, like a donut. But then he thought he filled the hole, but then that hole had another hole in it. And that's where he figured everything out. Yeah. Just a lot of fun. Great movie. Again, it's on Prime, so if you've seen it, you could go. Hi, doggy. You could see it again. I would recommend it. I'm definitely going to watch it again someday because I want to see, what I missed and what's going on. So anyway, yeah, I think that's it. I can only talk about it so much because, you don't want to give, you don't want to give everything away. I've given everything away. But, when I'm walking with my dog, I can only think so much. Real fun movie. Really enjoyable. Bravo, Rian Johnson. Did I see something about there possibly being a sequel? I don't know. Look, I wouldn't mind because of the characters in the world or something with, just Benoit Blanc, the inspector. Just something with him and the cops again, going off to solve another crime. I would see that. Come on, buddy, because he's made himself a character that could almost have like his own little franchise. Yeah, very enjoyable. I'm at a stoplight now with cars everywhere. Like, I don't understand when cars go through a green light and they're stopped in front of the intersection and they block the intersection and knowing that their light could turn red. Stupid idiots. Come on, girl. Anyway, folks, I'm down on a much more busy street now. And I think I'm going to finish up here. So let me just say, again, Amazon Prime, Knives Out, Rian Johnson, Bravo. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Geek Mentality. The website is fansnotexperts.com. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. And that's it. 13 movies down. 13 movies done. We still got 17 movies. I just did the math. It didn't take me that long. And now I'm gonna finish this podcast. So here is my theme song. This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans Not Experts.